Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The rain fell relentlessly on the twisting coastal road going into Port Charles, transforming the tarmac into a slippery mirror that reflected the gloomy clouds above. Jason Morgan grasped the steering wheel of the unassuming black SUV with the same calm intensity that had dominated his existence for years. His knuckles were white, not from terror, but from the sheer weight of what he carried in the passenger seat next to him. Sam McCall sat there, her face pallid and haggard, huge circles under her eyes indicating countless nights of doubt. She looked out the window, seeing familiar features appear through the rain: old warehouses, the distant contour of the port, and, beyond that, the spires of General Hospital itself. They'd been traveling for hours, usually in quiet, interrupted only by the repetitive thump of the wipers and the odd crackling of the radio broadcasting local news. Jason had discovered her in a remote safe home upstate, a location few knew existed, stashed away after a series of events that had nearly ripped their world apart again. Sam had been gone from Port Charles for months, leaving a gaping scar in the lives of everyone she cared about: Danny, Scout, her mother Alexis, and, yes, even the intricate web that linked her to Sonny Corinthos. But Jason had brought her back, not simply for reunions and nostalgia, for something far grander. "Are you sure about this?" Sam's voice was faint and husky, from disuse. She turned to face him, her palm instinctively resting on her abdomen, a protective move Jason had witnessed several times throughout their voyage. Jason cast a short glance at her, his blue eyes as steady as ever. "There's no turning back now, Sam. Port Charles needs to hear it from us, especially Sonny." She nodded slowly, leaning against the chilly glass. Memories flooded her mind. The first time she met Jason all those years ago in the interrogation room at the PCPD, the spark that exploded into a love story as turbulent as the harbor seas. They'd experienced shootings, kidnappings, presumed deaths, and resurrections. Just Sam, as the fans called them. However, life in Port Charles was never straightforward. Betrayals, mob battles, medical mysteries. They'd survived it all, only to be tested anew by forces they couldn't have anticipated. As the SUV reached the hill above the city, the lights of Port Charles twinkled below, deceptively promising serenity. Jason's thoughts flashed back to the moment everything changed. It had begun with a routine security detail that went awry. Sam had been looking into a lead on an old nemesis, possibly related to her history as a con artist and her more recent brushes with danger. What she discovered wasn't simply a threat to her. It revealed a plot that stretched deep into Sonny's organization, the five families, and even further, to international actors who regarded Port Charles as a lucrative port for more than just coffee and legitimate commerce. Jason had gotten her out barely in time. While he patched together the fragments, the safe homes served as their haven. They were returning now, armed with evidence and facts too combustible to conceal. The unexpected revelation would have far-reaching consequences, pushing friendships to change, old grudges to reemerge, and families to confront long-buried secrets. They drove into the subterranean garage of Sonny's compound on the outskirts of town. The security cameras turned on, and within minutes, Max Giambetti was at the vehicle door, his hulking form rigid with astonishment. "Jason? Is that Sam?" Jason emerged first, nodding curtly. "It's her. We need to see Sonny. Right now." Max's eyes widened as Sam appeared, but he knew better than to ask questions. He took them past the reinforced doors to the opulent yet secured living room where Sonny Corinthos frequently held court. The mob leader was present, pacing near the fireplace with a tumbler of whiskey in hand. His dark hair was streaked with more gray than previously, and the creases on his face were deeper as a result of the incessant legal, personal, and violent confrontations that defined his empire. When he turned to see them, the glass almost slid from his grasp. "Jason." Sonny's tone was a mix of relief and caution. His eyes went to Sam, softening for a fleeting moment before hardening again.
"Sam.
What the hell is going on? You've both been ghosts for months. The kids. Danny's been asking about you every day." Scout doesn't understand why her mom's gone again. Sam came closer, her legs wobbling. Jason placed a supporting touch on her lower back, emphasizing their restored bond amidst the pandemonium. "Sonny, sit down. This isn't a social call." Sonny laid the glass down and crossed his arms, his posture reminiscent of a guy who had survived more assassination attempts than most could remember. "Talk. You've got my attention." Jason took a little encrypted drive from his jacket pocket and set it on the coffee table. Sam wasn't just hiding, she was targeted. What she discovered, it's bigger than any turf war we've dealt with. The Cassidines aren't the only ones with long memories and deeper pockets. There's a new player moving in, someone using the port for human trafficking mixed with biotech smuggling. They tested it on low-level operatives first, and then they came for Sam because she connected the dots to an old case. Biotech? Sounds like something out of Drew's old Yelku nightmares or Valentine's schemes. Why bring her back now? And why to me? Sam exhaled deeply, her hand quivering slightly as she spoke. Because you're the only one with the network to stop it before it spreads. The unbelievable part, Sonny, the news Jason and I have, it's not just about the threat. It's personal. During the time I was gone, I discovered I was pregnant. But not in the way anyone would expect. The room was silent except for the roaring fire. Sonny leaned forward, his gaze sharpening. Pregnant? With Jason's? After everything? Jason shook his head. It's not that simple. The doctors upstate ran tests. The pregnancy, it's a result of the experimental protocol they exposed Sam to before I got her out. The drug was designed to accelerate certain biological processes, to create heirs or assets for their operation. They wanted controllable bloodlines tied to powerful families in Port Charles. Sam was chosen because of her history with me, with you, with the Quartermaines. The child carries markers from multiple lines. This was astounding news. Not a simple reunion or a mob hit gone bad, but a scientific horror entwined with their twisted family history. You're telling me that some lab rats turned Sam into a science project? To what end? To infiltrate my organization from the inside out. Exactly, Jason replied, his tone bland but loaded with uncommon anger. He rarely displayed vulnerability, but the thought of Sam and this child as puppets sparked something primitive in him. The drive has files, names, offshore accounts. One of the key figures is embedded in the hospital staff, someone close to Terry, even. They've been monitoring bloodlines for years, waiting for the right moment. Sam's escape triggered alarms. They're coming for her again, and by extension, everyone connected. Sam's eyes were overflowing with tears, refusing to slip away. I didn't ask for this. I thought I was investigating a missing persons case tied to the docks. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in a facility with IVs and monitors. Jason found me during a transport. If he hadn't, I don't know what would have happened to the baby or me. Sonny abruptly arose, pacing again. His thoughts were immediately turning to strategy, the same style that had built his business from nothing. We need Brick on this immediately. Hack into whatever systems they have. A call in favors from the old networks in Bensonhurst and beyond. But Jason, why didn't you come straight to me? You've been back before, dodging questions about your absences. This time feels different. Jason gazed at his old pal. Because trust has been fractured. Too many times we've assumed the other had our backs only to find layers of deception. I needed to verify everything first. Sam and we talked a lot in that safe house about Danny, about the life we keep trying to build away from this, but Port Charles pulls us back every time. This child changes everything. If the protocol works as they claim, the baby could have enhanced resilience, faster healing, maybe even resistance. They went to the secure study, where Sonny stored his most sensitive data. Maps of the port were put out, with red lines indicating suspected smuggling drop spots. Sam provided details from her incarceration, including faces she saw and discussions she overheard regarding Project Helix and its ties to a secretive European organization that had previously brushed up against the WSB. As the hours passed, the tension in the room grew. Sonny's first amazement turned to calculating wrath. No one experiments on people I care about. Sam, your family, whether we like it or not. Your kids are tied to mine through history. This ends with us burying them before they touch another soul in this town. Jason nodded, but his gaze rested on Sam. Their reconnection during the hardship had begun quietly, with shared meals in silence, followed by tentative chats about what-ifs. What if they hadn't let danger tear them apart so many times? What if this child represented a second chance, rather than a threat? Sam felt it, too, the tug of their history. Jason's unwavering presence had always served as her anchor, even when she pushed him away for the sake of a fleeting normalcy. They finally paused as dawn broke. Max brought in coffee and sandwiches, but the appetites were light. Sonny made calls, first to Carly, whose voice cracked over the speaker with fear and fire. "Jason, you better not be dragging Sam into another war. Those kids need their mother to be stable." Then to Brick, who promised encrypted lines and satellite surveillance by noon. However, the real weight was determined during a private moment between the three of them. Sonny took Jason away as Sam reclined on the couch, exhausted. "This news, it's going to blow up the balance. The 5 families will smell weakness if word leaks that someone's targeting bloodlines. And the hospital, my God, if staff are compromised, think of the patients. Michael, Willow, everyone." Jason's reaction was measured. "We control the narrative. Leak just enough to draw them out. Use the child's existence as bait if we have to, but protect Sam at all costs." Sonny eyed his enforcer, the guy who had been like a brother for years despite the betrayals and absences. "You've changed since the last time. Softer around the edges with her. Is this you finally choosing a side that's not just loyalty to me?" "It's not about sides," Jason said. "It's about ending threats before they destroy what's left of the people we love. Sam and I lost too much time. Danny deserves both parents without constant fear. This baby, whatever it is, will raise it right, not as a weapon." The day was frantic. They drove to General Hospital under tight escort, not for treatment, but to conduct reconnaissance. Sam needed a comprehensive checkup from trusted doctors, perhaps Finn or a discreet specialist, to confirm the pregnancy's viability and any drug-related defects. Jason stayed close, his hand never leaving his concealed handgun. Sonny worked from the shadows, meeting with loyal lieutenants in the parking garage. Inside the hospital halls, familiar faces expressed shock. Elizabeth Weber saw them first, her nurse's scrubs sharp as she froze mid-step. "Sam? Jason? Oh my God." The rumors were true. Her eyes raced between them, going back to her own difficult past with Jason and the love triangle that had once characterized so much drama. Sam managed a feeble smile. "It's a long story, Liz. We need privacy. And tests." Elizabeth nodded and led them into a private exam room. As the scans and blood work continued, more pieces fell into place. The ultrasound confirmed a robust heartbeat, but the technician observed anomalous placental development, accelerated growth that corresponded to the protocol's claims. "This isn't normal," she muttered to the others. "It's like the fetus is optimizing." At first, the word traveled softly. Alexis Davis arrived in a frenzy and embraced her daughter in tears. "Samantha, what have you been up to this time? Danny and Scout are with Christina. They miss you so much." Mother and daughter talked for hours, Sam recalling the horror of the institution, the tests, and the escape. Alexis, ever the tenacious lawyer, instantly started devising legal strategies, protection orders, future lawsuits against phantom corporations. Meanwhile, Danny Morgan, a youngster navigating his dual background, learned about his mother's return via a cautious call from Jason. The boy's voice cracked over the phone. "Dad, Mom's really back? With a baby? What does that mean for us?" Jason's chest clenched. Fatherhood had always been a minefield for him, absent in ways he didn't desire, but passionately protective. "It means we're fighting for a future where you don't have to carry guns or secrets. Come see her when it's safe." By the evening, the gang had reconvened at Sonny's. The shocking news had multiple layers. Not only the pregnancy, but also the discovery that the consortium had ties to a failed Cassadine branch and even tenuous ties to Jerry Jack's old networks. They had been monitoring Sonny's empire for flaws, considering the Corinthos Morgan Union as an ideal test case for their mind and body changing technology. Carly Spencer came in later, her blonde hair windswept and her eyes burning. "I leave you alone for 5 minutes, and you bring back a sci-fi pregnancy plot? Sam, honey, are you okay?" The two women, who had argued and connected over Jason for years, exchanged a nervous hug. Carly's protection extended to all of the children who were now intertwined: Jocelyn, Donna, Avery, and this new life. Discussions became tactical. Jason devised a strategy. Enter the port using undercover assets, utilize Sam's expertise to identify handlers, and strike at the lab, which is said to be buried in an abandoned warehouse district. SONNY offered labor and cash, and his bipolar management remained stable thanks to recent adjustments, allowing him to focus without the normal turbulence. However, emotions ran deep beneath the technique. Jason and Sam sought a secluded area where they could be alone. The compound's garden, surrounded by high walls and guards, provided a rare breath of fresh air. "I never wanted to drag you back into this," Jason remarked quietly. "But seeing you in that place, I realized I can't do normal without you." "Not really." Sam caressed his face, tracing the scar that told so many tales. "We've said that before, but this time feels different. The baby, it's part of us, even if science twisted it. I want to believe we can protect it, raise Danny, Scout, and this one away from the violence." Their kiss began tentatively, then deepened with a passion that had always simmered between them. Years of separation melted away in that embrace, the sorrow of his deaths, her subsequent marriages, and custody fights. Sam endured because they recognized each other's darkness. The news of the return spread like wildfire across Port Charles the next morning. Whispers at Kelly's diner, uncomfortable chats in the Metro court, and urgent sessions at the PCPD where Chase and Dante discussed the consequences for law enforcement. SONNY's foes saw an opening, while allies drew closer. One important clash occurred when a suspected mole in SONNY's ranks was exposed, a mid-level associate who had provided information to the consortium. The takedown was quick, with Jason's accuracy and SONNY's ruthlessness on full display in a warehouse attack. "Who sent you?" SONNY asked, as the man bled from a superficial cut. The associate spit blood. "You think you're untouchable? The new order is coming. Bloodlines like yours are obsolete. The child will prove it." Jason closed the interrogation with a decisive strike, but the message lingered. The threat was genuine and impending. Over the next few days, the group delved deeper. Sam underwent more testing at a private clinic provided by SONNY, which confirmed the child's viability, but also identified potential risks: heightened senses later in development and hastened aging if left untreated. Medical experts from out of town were quietly consulted, and their conclusions were added to the drive's data. Danny and Scout arrived under heavy security. It was a bittersweet reunion. Danny, towering and with his father's austere features, hugged Sam tightly. "Don't leave again, Mom. We can handle whatever comes." Scout, younger and more emotional, clutched to her and inquired about the baby brother or sister on the way. Jason stared from the doorway, a rare smile creeping across his lips. This was what he fought for, not power or territory, but these precious moments of family. SONNY, meanwhile, was dealing with his own issues. The news prompted him to face his legacy. His children, Michael, Christina, Dante, and Avery, all carried elements of his tumultuous world. "If they can engineer a kid like this," he told Carly one night over bourbon, "what stops them from targeting Donna or Avery next?" Carly clasped his palm. "We stopped them as we always have. Jason and Sam are back, and the team is reforming. Alliances have strengthened." Drew Kane gave Quartermain resources for technical countermeasures. Anna Devane provided WSB-related insights without official involvement. Even Valentin Cassadine, in one of his enigmatic visits, issued a cryptic warning to European players he had previously encountered. The climax occurred as intel targeted the main lab. A raid was organized for the dead of night, with Jason heading the tactical squad and SONNY coordinating from command. Sam insisted on being involved remotely, monitoring from the facility, her hacking talents honed by necessity. As the crew approached, gunfire boomed throughout the industrial zone. Jason moved like a shadow, eliminating guards with silent shots and years of practiced hand-to-hand skills. Inside the lab, they discovered horrors: test victims in induced comas and databanks containing information about targeted families in the Northeast. The last twist was disclosed when confronting the lead scientist, a frigid woman dressed in a lab coat. The protocol wasn't just for control. It was to create the next evolution of enforcers. Your Sam was the perfect vessel, resilient genetics from her con artist survival and your unique history, Mr. Morgan. Jason never hesitated. The facility burned as they extracted what they could and destroyed the remainder. But success comes at a cost. A stray bullet injured Sam during an unexpected counterattack back at the facility when a secondary squad attempted to kidnap her. The wound was slight, but it emphasized the risk. In the aftermath, as Port Charles breathed a cautious sigh of relief, the astounding news became reality. Sonny toasted survival in his living room, surrounded by the inner circle. To family, blood, chosen, and the one science tries to force on us. Jason and Sam stood together, her palm on her swelling belly. The child would be born in a few months, under the watchful gaze of a metropolis that never sleeps. Danny and Scout adjusted to the prospect of having a sister, having already demonstrated perseverance in their youth. But shadows lingered. The consortium's remains may reunite. New threats were always on the horizon: rival crowds, personal vendettas, and health concerns. But for now, in the silent hours, Jason held Sam close, whispering promises of safety and a love that had outlasted death itself. Port Charles had witnessed numerous returns and shocks. This one, Jason bringing Sam back with news of a kid created in darkness, but born into light, would be remembered as a watershed moment. Loyalties were renewed, old wounds began to heal, and the unshakable relationship between Jason, Sam, and Sonny demonstrated once more that in their world, family was more than blood. It was a fight to keep it safe. Weeks became months. Sam's pregnancy progressed with careful monitoring. The kid displayed no immediate defects other than the expected fast growth, which doctors handled using sophisticated procedures. Alexis poured herself into grandmotherhood, indulging Danny and Scout while establishing legal protections for the child. Sonny increased his security detail by using new brick technology that detected biotech signatures. His connection with Jason grew into something approximating the old days, with trust restored through shared conflicts. Late-night strategy sessions over coffee evolved into philosophical discussions on fatherhood, legacy, and the cost of power. Sam and Jason went for a walk on the pier one evening as the autumn leaves began to fall. The water lapped gently, in contrast to the storms they had experienced. "Do you ever regret it?" Sam inquired. "Coming back, pulling me back into this life?" Jason paused and turned her to face him. "Regret keeping you alive?"
No.
"We make our own choices now. The baby will know both worlds, the danger and the love that balances it." Their kiss under the port lights cemented a solemn pledge. The inconceivable had become the truth. Back at the complex, Sonny got a call from an old acquaintance. "There are whispers that another player is testing comparable technology in Europe." The conflict was not over. But with Jason and Sam at his side, reunited, resilient, and prepared, the Corinthos organization was stronger. Port Charles slept restlessly that night, as it often did. But in the hearts of those who mattered, hope shone brighter than the threats that circled. A new Morgan Corinthos generation was on its way, bringing not only manufactured promise, but also the unyielding spirit of survivors who refused to be defined by the darkness. The narrative of their return would reverberate through the corridors of General Hospital, the docks, and the interwoven families' homes for years. Jason had brought Sam back, revealing a fact that changed their lives. Even in the face of the impossible, love and loyalty could construct a road ahead.